Hello students, today we shall start the question answer session of our second lesson, the sun, the moon and the earth. Let us have a brief review of what we have studied in this lesson. Points to remember. The first point, moon's revolution. Children, we studied that the moon rotates around itself and it revolves around the earth. The time it takes to complete one rotation and revolution is the same. Now the next point is the perigee and the apogee position. We learned that perigee means when the moon is close to the earth and apogee means when the moon is far away from the earth. Now we saw next is the solar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day when the sun, the moon and the earth are in one line. And in a solar eclipse, the moon is in between the sun and the earth. Now coming to the next point, the lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon day. Again here, the sun, the moon and the earth are in a straight line. In a lunar eclipse, the earth is between the sun and the moon. Now coming to the next point, occultation. Occultation occurs when a star or a planet hides behind the moon. Transit. Transit occurs when an inner planet like Mercury or Venus comes in between the earth and the sun. Now let us proceed with the question answers. Question number 1. Why do the sun, the moon and the earth not lie in one and the same line on every full moon and new moon day? Answer. The sun, the moon and the earth do not lie in one line because the orbital path of the earth and the moon are not in the same plane. The moon's revolutionary orbit makes an angle of 5 degrees with that of the earth. So, the sun, the moon and the earth do not lie in one line on every full moon day and new moon day. Question second. When total solar eclipse occurs, why is partial eclipse also seen from the earth? Answer. A solar eclipse occurs if the moon is between the sun and the earth. The shadow of the moon falls on the earth. We have already studied this, children, earlier. The place on the earth where the moon's shadow falls experience a solar eclipse. This shadow is of two types. Some places experience the dark shadow of the moon, and at the same time some places experience a light shadow of the moon. A total solar eclipse occurs if the dark shadow of the moon falls on the earth, whereas a partial solar eclipse occurs if the light shadow of the moon falls on the earth. Thus, when a total solar eclipse occurs, a partial eclipse is also seen from the earth. Now the third question. Suggest measures that can be taken to eradicate, that means to destroy, to get rid of the superstitions related to the eclipse. Answer. The following measures can be taken to eradicate the superstitions related to the eclipse. First, we can perform various activities and demonstration to explain that an eclipse is nothing but an astronomical event. Second, we can also collect scientific information about eclipse and share the same by showing posters, charts and also through group discussions. Question number 4. What precautions should we take while observing a solar eclipse? Answer. While observing a solar eclipse, it is necessary to see the sun disk through dark goggles or glasses made for that purpose. Fifth question. What type of solar eclipse will occur in the perigee condition? Children, you know what is the meaning of perigee? When the moon is close to the earth. Answer. Total and partial solar eclipse will occur in the perigee condition. Now you have to complete the following table. See, here details are given and lunar eclipse. You have to write about lunar eclipse as well as about the solar eclipse. Phase of the moon. That means lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon day and solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day. Second, sequence. How is the sequence of all the three celestial bodies? In a lunar eclipse, it is like moon, earth, sun. Whereas in solar eclipse, it is like earth, moon and sun. That means here the moon is in between the earth and the sun. Now types of eclipse. In a lunar eclipse, we have two types of eclipse. The total and the partial. And in a solar eclipse, we have three types. The total, the partial and the annular. Now duration, that is the time limit of the eclipse. In a lunar eclipse, the eclipse is for about 107 minutes. And in a solar eclipse, the time duration is 7 minutes and 20 seconds. That means 440 seconds. Now next part we shall proceed is the homework part. Now here students, some statements are given. That means some sentences are given. You have to write whether these sentences are correct or wrong. And if they are wrong, you have to write the correct statements. First one, the moon revolves around the sun. Second, on a full moon day, the moon, the sun and the earth are positioned in this sequence. Third, the revolutionary orbit of the earth and the moon are in the same plane. Fourth, in one revolution of the moon, its orbit intersects the earth's orbit only once. Fifth, it is all right to observe a solar eclipse without protecting the eyes. Sixth one, an annular solar eclipse occurs when the moon is in the perigee position. Now question fourth, last question children. Draw and label the diagrams. You have to draw two diagrams here and both these diagrams are present in our lesson. They are in our textbook. So look at the diagrams carefully and draw neatly in our notebook. The first is the total and partial solar eclipse and second diagram is total and partial lunar eclipse. So students, for your homework, you have to write all these question answers in good handwriting in your geography notebook and also you have to learn them well. Thank you.